Good evening and welcome to the FITT Show, financial information for today and tomorrow. I'm Bobby Kinzer.
And I'm Thomas Doty.
And we are the FITT Show, helping out people get their finances in shape. How are you doing today, Thomas Doty?
I am happy to be alive, my brother.
Well, I'm glad that you are alive so that you can be happy. This is a great week that we're having. I've been having great weather down here. The weekend was a little bit chilly and it's starting to look like spring. Just want to let everybody know we're thankful that you are with us. And today is April the 17th. We hope you filed your taxes on time and got all of that good stuff in. Dote, how you looking for taxes this year, man? You're in a good, favorable position?
Of course, I'm always in a good, favorable position because I manage it. I end up on it a little bit, but it was by design.
But that was your actual design, though, right?
Yep.
You not let Uncle Sam make interest on your money. You making interest on your own money.
Exactly.
Ain't nothing wrong with that, my brother. So, like always, we want to give this disclosure statement that we're not financial advisors and we're just providing information. I mean, everybody's financial situation, that's why they call it personal finance, is unique to them. So we're just trying to give you some information that you can apply, but you need to really look at your situation or engage in a financial advisor that can help you. But we got a lot of information, and this is our 194th show, though. And this is what I guess this is going on 3 years now.
Yep.
Right? Is that right?
It should be about 3 years.
About 3 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Please click on the like button or the heart button or both. Actually, you can't click on.
Wait a minute, it's got to be close to the 4, right, Bob?
It is.
50 times 4 is about 200, right?
Right. Oh.
50 weeks in a year.
And we missed a couple of weeks, right?
We always miss a couple of weeks because of
Christmas and Thanksgiving and health surgeries.
Heart surgeries, yeah.
And all that, right? So, but I mean, that's, wow, that doesn't seem like it went by fast. And we haven't duplicated a show yet, although we might have talked about a subject we've talked in another show, but we've never done a whole show on the same thing. And yes, I know we repeat some things because we know that learning is repetitious. And one of the things, but several things we repeat, we always talk about, having a plan and sticking to it. So y'all might get tired of us, saying that, but that's so important because most people just don't do it, So, but it's been, I'm telling you, though, it doesn't feel like that amount of time has gone by.
Well, no, because I enjoy talking about money.
Yeah, you know what? I do too, man, and I enjoy helping people too. Because most people only know what they know.
Yeah, plus you're a hoot to deal with. It's always a party when you're around, man.
And so make sure you place comments in the comment box, and if you have an opinion on anything we're saying, if you have a question about anything we're saying, or if you have a topic you'd like for us to discuss, if it fits in with the show, we'll discuss it today. But if it's way off, then we'll save it for another show, or give us a title of another show. Excuse me, not just a show, but a particular topic that you would like for us to cover, and we definitely will do that. We're looking forward to that. This year, we're going to be having on some guests. We're going to start bringing on some guests. And we talked about that. So, because I know y'all probably tired of hearing me and Dote's mouth, and we're going to bring some other expertise on here because everybody can add to this. So if you know some people that y'all like to recommend, just let us know and we'll vet them, and then, we'll have them on. But with that, Dote, well, last week we talked about, is the fear justified? And what was your final analysis of that statement, though. Is the fear justified?
Oh yeah.
You're daggone right it is.
Yeah.
But there's no need to panic, though. That was the issue, right? But this,
Well, panic don't help, but it is when you and it's going. We'll know a lot more. Well, let's get to the update, and I'll get into this.
okay, cool.
That's a good lead in.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Because this week we're going to talk. The title of this show today is you all, the financial journey, and that is a loaded topic. But before we do that, we're going to get into Thomas Doty's favorite at the top of the show. No, you know we got to cross our fingers if it works or not, right? There's no giving with this daggone technology.
I got confidence in you.
It's not working. Oh, it's working. Let me know if you see it, though.
I see it. Make it big.
Thank God we work. We up. Houston, we're back up. All right, Dote, take it away.
Yeah, and this has just been up and down. This volatility, this is going back to pandemic levels to 2008. It has really been crazy, all based on these tariffs. And so he came out today and pretty much said, he's going to work some deals out with the countries. He kind of pulled everybody off the ledge. But he also posted on his social platform that he uses that he'd like to get rid of Jerome Powell, who is the Fed chief. And that is supposed to be an independent, totally different than being under the president.
Right, a cabinet member.
Yeah, you can see how he's manipulated the market with all this tariff talk. And if you were to put him in charge of monetary policy, then you'd have one man over trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars, which right. I'm not sure he's the most, well, I'm not going to get into my opinion about him. But
I will. I know he ain't.
No, we ain't political.
No, we're not. But I'm making a statement. I don't think.
But we ain't going to do that.
No,
we're going to talk about facts. And the market is really, really uneasy with the current situation. Very uneasy. And it's you can go across economists, you can talk to business leaders, you can talk to financial analysts. Everybody is uneasy with the thought of him firing Jerome Powell and putting one of his people in that spot. So that's the next thing that we have to worry about, because it looks like this tariff thing is finally calmed down. The market has kind of found some stability, even though it's still off a great deal from where it was. We'll have to see how he's going to handle this Jerome Powell situation. And we may get into the Supreme Court with some of the issues he's dealing with, but that's neither here nor there. As far as the market's concerned, like I said, it's been crazy wild. And it seems to have stabilized somewhat. You can see the S&P is pretty much flat for the week. NASDAQ's down slightly, 100 points. And that's because some of the big boys have taken a hit. Microsoft has taken a pretty big hit, even though Apple had taken a hit, but Apple's kind of come back, especially when they kind of made some changes with all the tariff talk that kind of helped it. NVIDIA took a hit. Again, it has to do with the fact that the chips, what's going on with the chips, and there's a company in, I think it's a Taiwanese company, who's making some headway. So that kind of caused NVIDIA to take a little dip, but it's kind of recovered a little bit, but it's still down 7 for the week. Google's taking a hit. They just had a judge tell them they are monopolizing the ad network. Pfizer's flat and Palantir is up 5 points. So all in all, given all the volatility we've had, this is not near as bad as it has been or as it could be. And so as we go to the weeks ahead, like I said, the big thing you got to watch is if he does fire Jerome Powell.
Ooh, that would send the market kind of crazy.
That would send the market down big time. That would send the market down big time. But we shall see. I hope there's enough intelligent people around him to keep him from doing that. But We shall see.
And some people are starting to break from him, so that's some good news. Hey, don't. Well, people are questioning me about the market because they're 401k plans, right? Or
Mhm.
full. They got full
Full TV.
DB, and
Mhm.
they got a 401a in
Mhm.
DC, and then you got you know, IRAs and things like that involved. And the people like, man, you know, what should we do? What should we do? And like we said, don't nobody know what's going on. So what I'm finding out when I'm talking to people, which I like to hear what's happening out there on the street, a lot of their financial advisors though are telling them just to hold steady, just stay right now, because like we said, no one knows what's going on, and they telling them to don't look at it, don't even look at um, their plan. And I'm a little bit weary about that because I think there's a reason to actually, you know, not do anything because we don't know what's going on. But I don't think you should look at it because one of the things we talked about the other week, though, was rebalancing or making sure you had the right asset allocation. And that doesn't matter if it's the tariffs, if it's a pandemic, if it's a election. If you don't have the right asset allocation, that can actually expose you to a lot of risk too. So just to not look at it, and I know with some people, I just can't, I got it. But you got to look at it and make sure it's um, allocated correctly, it's diversified in a good position, and it's rebalanced. And then don't look at it. So that's
Well, yeah, and I think you're right, Bob. But I think there's a couple of ways to look at it. Number one, I think what the advisors are telling people is after the market has dropped 1,000 points, like it has, that during the day, there's unless you're going to make a trade, there's no use looking at it if that's going to bring you anxiety.
right.
Okay, and if you have set your risk level, you're comfortable with your risk level, and we always say don't invest money that you can't afford to lose. Do it according to your risk level. And then if the market takes a big hit, the overall market's taking a big hit. There's no use watching it during the day as it is down 400 points, it's down 600 points, it's down 800 points. At that point, you're not going to do anything. So there's no use getting caught up in the drama of what's going on. And typically when you have those big drops, usually a day or two later, a lot of times it comes back to where it was. So I think when they say don't look at it, I think that's what they're referring to. Don't get caught up in the day to day. Oh, the market's down, I have to do something. Okay. Yeah, there is a point where you do have to rebalance. But in situations like this, usually it's the entire market that's going down. So it's not like bonds are doing this and stocks are doing this or certain segments are doing this. It's usually the overall market that's taking a hit. So I think when
And,
they say don't look at it, they're worried about don't get into the day to day. Oh, at 2 o'clock it was here, at 3 o'clock it's here.
and,
Don't worry about that. At that point, it's too late to do anything.
right.
You really don't know what's going to happen. So yeah, you don't want to get into looking at it and worrying about it. But yeah, at some point, to your point, Bob, at some point, if you need to rebalance, if
Yeah.
a certain segment has had a big drop or a big increase, yeah, then you need to look at it. But
And though I'm glad you clarified that because I was with some people today and doing some financial coaching, and once again the terminologies they didn't understand because like I just said, you know, don't look at it, but that doesn't mean, you know, I'm like maybe you should look at it, but your point is right. No, two ways to take don't look at it. Don't look at it. No, you said, yeah, because you don't need to be doing no day to day when the market. And by the way, when the market is already down and it's lost, guess what? It's too late now to do something,
exactly.
right? But so, and once again, terminology is key though, because like you said, no, that's not what I meant. Like, you know, look at it, you know, day to day. You're right. No, that's not good. But you do if it's an imbalance. And like, for instance, though, and I'll stop. For instance, if you were 60-40, 60% equities, meaning growth stocks, and say 40% bonds, the last 10 years, it's a chance and you didn't look at it and do anything, it's a chance that now your portfolio is 70% equity because they grew and 30% bonds only because the equity side grew. And if you were trying to keep a balance of 60-40 for times like this, you might want to rebalance it back to 60-40. It could be 80-20 from when it was 60-40. And that's what I mean. You do need to look at it. But after you do that, just like you said, don't worry, sit back and wait and see what's going to happen. So,
but again, just remember, a lot of times when it does take those big drops, it usually brings it back. So you don't want to, you kind of want to wait and see how things are going to settle before you look at it with the intention of making changes.
Good.
Let things kind of settle down.
And I know we kind of went over that, but I wanted to have that conversation though, because a lot of people are coming to me and saying, "What the world about? What I do?" So I'm glad we did take a minute and have that discussion. Let's talk about cryptocurrency markets, everyone. The cryptocurrency markets is up, though. It's back. The Bitcoin is up $5,339 a Bitcoin from last week. It's up from 79,000 to 84,868. That's up 8%. Crazy.
Hey, Bob,
yes.
I took my Roth IRA money and put it in Bitcoin. Last year, I put it in gold. I put $7,500. My wife and I in gold. That's 15 grand. That 15 grand is now worth 20 grand. So it went up 5 grand in 1 year. That's
the gold fund.
Yeah,
right?
That's a 33% increase in a year. And this year, it's 8 grand a piece. I put in Bitcoin, Fidelity Bitcoin fund. So we'll keep an eye on that and see how that goes.
And let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, Doda just explained the difference between him and me. To put 8,000 in crypto in a was it a Roth fund?
Roth, yeah.
That's some risky stuff.
Yeah, but it's only 20 grand. I mean, it's only 16 grand. So
listen to what Doe said, y'all. Only 16 grand, right? Some people, that's all they got saved. And that's the difference, though, right, Doe?
Yeah.
If, and that's the difference. If you got it to make it to ride, remember what we say. It's any investment. It's not just cryptocurrency, but specifically cryptocurrency. Don't be putting money that you're going to be needing like in the next 6 months to a year. You don't need to be putting it in a cryptocurrency,
No.
And if you can't afford to lose it, it doesn't matter if it's, you don't need it till 2 years or 3. If you can't afford to lose it, it doesn't matter if you leave it in there 2 or 3 years. If you can't afford it, don't be putting it in there.
But, and by the same token, you could make the argument that I shouldn't put it in something that's tax sheltered, because if it does go down, I won't get the benefit of that. So had I bought it outside of the Roth and it went down, at least I'd be covered, as I would have a capital loss to offset some capital gains.
Oh, wait a minute. Say that again, don't say it again. You lost me.
Someone could argue that instead of putting it in a tax protected vehicle,
like
Roth, so
okay,
let's say that 16 grand drops to 8 grand. Okay, they say it drops in half. I don't get the benefit of a tax deduction from a capital loss. So you could argue that I should have put it in something that's not tax deferred, just bought it outright. But I already have some that I bought outright. And again, that's the 6 grand that turned into 18 grand. But the reason I did this, because I'm expecting it to go up. Right. And so in the Roth, that increase will be protected, so I won't pay tax on it. So you have to kind of, again, every situation is different.
But I'm glad you gave the whole picture on that, though.
Yeah.
Cause some people say, "Oh, he put that money in the Roth in the crypto vehicle fund," but I see what you're doing now, and it makes sense to me now.
Right.
Because it wouldn't make no sense to me at first. But that's your choice, right? I look at the markets. I mean, the whole cryptocurrency market is up over 139 billion. That's about 5%.
Wow.
And yes,
Wow.
yeah, and look at Solana, man. Solana is up 19%. It's in the 7th position now. And we usually we just try to look at the top, 5 or 6. We look at the top, we look at the top 6, and top 10. We try to stay with the top 10 because it's over 9,000 active cryptocurrencies, but it's 45,000 out there. So be careful, right? Now, Dope, let's get into our topic for today and explain, help people understand this topic today. It's a loaded topic, though. The financial journey.
Yeah, and it is loaded because it means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. If we were to generalize and say, let's talk about the American dream, and a lot of people, you always hear people chasing the American dream. Well, the American dream is different to different people, and a lot of people focus on visible affluence. They got the fancy car, they got all the latest clothes, they live in the fanciest house with all the latest touches, and it's been designed by somebody who charges a whole lot of money. They got artwork everywhere, and that might be their marker of success. That might be what success means to them. But Bob and I always talk about, we try to point toward financial freedom as being the American dream. So we think a lot of people have been brainwashed, especially with TV and marketing, to think that you've made it when you can buy all the stuff that they advertise on TV. A lot of times all that does is drive you into debt. That's about all it does. And, we like to think just, you work hard, you save your money, you can have great financial success. And it's not that simple, because the reason we're here is because it takes financial literacy to manage the money you get. You go back to that song, More Money, More Problems. Yeah, the more money you get, the more you have to know to manage that money. And so everybody's financial success is looked at differently. And a lot of people think of, I want the big house with the big yard, the white picket fence, and you living the life, you hanging out, you're around all the hot people, you got all the fixings of being successful. And to a lot of people, that's what the American dream is. But we like to focus on trying to get that financial freedom, not visible affluence, but having a healthy checkbook, not having to work if you don't have to work, being able to give your kids choices about where they go to school, what they're going to do with their lives, and not have to worry about make or break situations. That's what we like to think of. And so we want to get you out of that pressure of trying to get success just to impress people and going in debt to get that success.
And notice the term journey, not financial trip. See, trip seems to be a little bit shorter, but it's a journey, you all, and it takes time. And a lot of people just get caught up into the Joneses and what's happening now. FOMO, fear of missing out. But when we talk about the financial journey, what we mean is making smart decisions and aligning your money with your goals so you can enjoy the journey. It's one thing having to take the trip, but at least enjoy it along the way. You don't have to live in a daggone shoebox and penny pinch and don't live your life, And what we meant by smart decisions are decisions that are based on your deeper understanding of the things that are most important to you, and most important to your life, most important to you and your family. Now, what do we mean by enjoying the journey? That's making sure you do the things that you want to do, when you want to do them, how you want to do them, with who you want to do them. And if possible, doing them rather sooner than later. So, dope.
Yeah.
Let's jump into the topic.
Yeah, and the American dream, it can turn into a nightmare for some people because there's that old adage, all you need to do is just work hard and you'll get everything you want. But anybody with half a brain knows that's not always the case. We know a lot of people who work hard, but it doesn't always result in financial success. I mean, so many other things that happen. You can get fired from your job. You can have big medical expenses. You can make investments that don't work, and even the cost of having a home can be a drain on you. So it's not just working hard. You have to work hard, and some things have to go your way. Because if you have a house, you're gonna have big expenses. That's one they don't tell you. They always tell you to get a house, but if you got a house, stuff's gonna break. It's whether it's routine stuff like you got to get it painted, you got to fix stuff, or it could be major stuff like you need a new roof or your furnace blows up. Those things do happen, and so people always say, "Okay, you work hard, you'll be successful." Nobody wants to look like they aren't working hard. You might be working your butt off, but you don't have the quote unquote things to show that you're working hard. So a lot of people might go into debt to make it look like, yes, I'm working hard and I have all the benefits of having worked hard. I got the big house note. I got the big car loan. I got the huge mortgage that's killing me. And those are all outward signs of success, but that's not really what success is about. So you could be making a great income on paper, but the American dream can still get you into financial trouble. And that's what we want you to avoid. So we're going to talk about some ways the American dream, quote unquote, might be ruining your finances.
Right. And one of them, though, is, like what you say, you mentioned it. Sometimes we think bigger is better, and it's so easy to get caught up with that idea that success means constantly upgrading, like you're constantly getting a larger home. Because I remember, especially around the economic downturn, before the economic downturn, like 2005 and 6, right? People were going, they had a big home, a $300,000 home, and they went into a $500,000 home. And with that, it comes what? You got to now get more furniture. You got to now heat more space, and some people, just buying a new car or splurging on the latest, like a lot of guys were getting the man cave or all the high tech stuff, and it just ended up getting you in debt. But does bigger always mean better? The problem is each upgrade comes with a high cost. From mortgage payments to maintenance to insurance, like you said, though, it's a cycle that never ends. Bob Marley says, numbers, are endless. And if you're chasing numbers, if you're chasing money, you'll never be happy because it's endless. It's always, if you're always reaching for the next level, you end up financially stressed. And even if you're earning a good salary, which a lot of people are these days, that's why we're talking about this financial journey. You want it to be an enjoyable journey, but we sometimes get caught up in things like that, though.
Yeah, and another one, Bob, is giving in to a sense of social pressure or comparison. And that's one a lot of people fall into, especially when you're young. Because it's hard not to compare your lives to others, especially if your friends are showing you what they got on all over the internet, and you can feel in your head like you're falling behind. And it's hard to resist the temptation to splash out onto something if all your friends are buying and celebrating and doing. But there's a couple of reasons why you shouldn't do that. One is you don't know where they got their money from, or you don't know if they're knee deep in debt doing what they're doing. So you can't get caught up in what other people are doing. And that's a tough one when you're young. I'll grant you that. Because again, you're in that mode of I'm working hard and I'm working just as hard as they are, but they seem to have more than I have. But as you mature, I think you get to the point where you can stop thinking about that, and you can get to the point where just because you make more money, you don't have to spend more. Like Bob was saying, bigger ain't always better. You got to get to the point where you're comfortable with who you are and where you are, and realize that you don't have to impress other people. And you don't want to compare, because you never know what somebody else's situation is. You got to worry about you, focus on you and what you're trying to do.
Though another one, bigger is better. A lot of people go into debt trying to finance large purchases. Now, listen, I want to get it straight. There's nothing wrong with owning a luxurious home, or even a fancy car, nice things. But those purchases can come at a cost and financial security. That's a problem. It's easy to justify a big expense by thinking I can afford the monthly payments, but debt can quickly snowball, especially when interest rates start going up. And a lot of people get caught, though, by those things because they didn't plan and didn't see it coming. I tell you another big one: credit card debt. Car loans, and can eat a massive chunk of your income and making it harder to save and invest. So if you want to make the journey a little bit more pleasurable, before taking on debt, ask yourself whether it's a wise financial decision. This debt would be usually considered debt. There's such thing as good debt, but there's definitely things as bad debt. And make sure, you're not trying to fit in somebody else's success story.
Yeah, or you say by making good decisions, is it an appreciating asset? That's what you should ask yourself. So a lot of people get caught up living paycheck to paycheck with no savings. And even you can make a whole lot of money, but still, if you're spending it all and you ain't getting ahead, then that's not what you want. A lot of people, as they make more, they spend more. It's called lifestyle creep. Okay, I'm making more money. I can afford to do the stuff that I've been doing without. But we've always talked about that's the most important thing you can do when you're young is get your standard of living fixed. Get where you're comfortable, and then start banking that extra money as opposed to trying to upgrade every time you get more money. And by doing that, if you can have some savings, then when you have those emergencies, those, you lose your job, make your car repair, if you put some money away for that, you got an emergency fund, that's going to help you sleep better at night. It's going to give you peace of mind. You won't be as worried about what's going on, as opposed to having things and spending all your money and not having that cushion. Then if something happens, you're back to credit card debt, or you're staying up night worrying where you're going to get the money to pay for those things.
Though another one is not adequately planning for retirement. And then there's the other side, because people think once you retire, it's not over. And I know a lot of people don't plan adequately after they retire. Like they might have the wrong asset allocation and they might be taking out too much money out of their retirement plan. But the American dream that people get caught up on sometimes, focus on what you have now. But, what about tomorrow? Once you retire, it's not over. You still got to have some planning and to make sure you have your retirement funds, allocated quickly. Now, too many people put off saving for retirement. I mean, it's amazing how many people do not participate in the thrift savings plans at their job or 401k plans at any job. It seems like a long way off, especially to these younger people, and they're probably hoping they'll be rich in the future. But some might even think they might be carrying on working forever. But however good your health is right now, things can change. Though, did you know that 60% of Americans have at least one chronic disease? 60%.
I can believe it.
And 40% of Americans have 2 or more chronic diseases. And you know that's usually high blood pressure or diabetes.
And Bob, if you're talking about people I hang around with, those numbers are more like 80 and 90%.
Now, these don't just have financial impacts in terms of healthcare. They can also make it a lot harder to earn as much money as you want. So make sure you're taking advantage, the full advantage of the match in your 401k plans, 403bs, and it's basically free money. And that's why you got to make sure, and we talk about this all the time, it's about maximizing what you have. It's not about what you have, it's what you do with what you have. And if you're not maximizing what you have, there's a chance that you can outlive your money, and you don't want to do that.
Yeah. Okay, Bob, let's talk about some quick fixes. How do you turn your finances around? So you chasing the American dream has got you all stressed out and you're wondering what can you do? Well, the first thing you should do, and no, I'm not going to say create a plan. I'm going to say create a personal definition of success. And by a personal definition, I mean, forget about what you see on TV, forget about what other people are doing. Think about yourself. What could you do that you would be truly proud of for achieving? Maybe it's having a fully funded emergency fund. Maybe it's traveling without having to go into debt to do that. Maybe it's retiring early. So defining success on your own terms will help you make smarter financial decisions.
Yeah, that's good talk, though. Now this is another one. It's amazing how many people do this in their head, but they don't. But you should track your expenses for a full month. How many people have done that? I don't think a lot of people have. I'm talking about a full month. Do you know how much you're spending each month? Not in your head. Have you put it down on paper? And do you know exactly you're spending know exactly what you're spending money on? Like, and a lot of people, it's not the big ones you are. It's those little $10, $20, $50 that add up. Take a full month or longer if you can to track every dollar. I'm talking about every dollar. How many people do that, though? Every dollar in their pocket that you track it for a month. You'd be surprised what you might see and discover that how much money is getting away from you because you're not really keeping track of it. Now, as you track your money, watch for things like these subscriptions that you're not even using, impulse purchases that you didn't really need or want, or anything that's costing more than what you realize. It's so easy, because you go in these stores, you look, they got the big sales things right there in front as soon as you come in to get your attention. On TV late night, they put in all kinds of things. So understanding where your money is going is the first step to making meaningful changes.
What's the second step? First step is defining your success. That's the second step. And the third step is start to save or increase your savings. Even if you can only save a little bit. It's like Bob was just saying, if you can save $10 by getting rid of a streaming service that you don't use, put that $10 straight to your savings account every month. Little amounts, it might not seem like it's worth it, but those little amounts add up to big amounts. And if you're already saving, challenge yourself to increase that savings. Small, consistent efforts add up over time. You can start by, even if you save just a little bit, if you save 1 cent each day, and just keep increasing that, what you're saving by a cent every day. Then after 3 years, you'd have over $600. Okay, that don't seem like much, but there's a lot of little things you can do to increase your savings just by, as Bob mentioned, looking over your savings and making a conscious effort to increase how much you have. One thing Bob talked about saving for retirement. If you've made it this far and you're like 65, 70 years old, you probably got a lot of years left. So you got to have some money put away. So don't let the American dream turn into a nightmare by looking at other people's success and chasing success. Do it on your own terms.
Yeah. And though, let me throw this one at you, right? Misconceptions come with costly consequences. So many people have just a misunderstanding, and it comes from a lot of misinformation, don't get me wrong, or lack of information. But your financial future rests on you understanding what you're doing and why you're doing it. And the consequences are real. Now, any misinterpretations you may have about money could potentially destroy your quality of life and reduce the chances of you experiencing the great financial freedom. Now, the obstacle to unlearning something has always thought, you have always thought was true, is to accept the possibility of having inaccurate information. Some people just won't accept it, though. They've been given wrong information and they don't want to accept it. And once you do that, but once you accept, right, that you may have inaccurate information, guess what? The unlearning bad financial information is not as complicated as you think. This happens a lot, though. I know people say, what the fuck about? This happens a lot because there's so much misinformation out there. The biggest misconception I see over and over again is that people focus on accumulation, right? People tend to evaluate their progress on the level of their success based on how much money they've accumulated. Now, it's great to accumulate money, don't get me wrong. But while having money in the bank is important, having reliable cash flow should be the ultimate goal. Like having your money work for you, in other words, right? Think about it. You can survive without having any money accumulated, but you cannot easily get by with having the cash flow, money coming in. Cash flow can be generated in a number of ways. A paycheck from your job, a business you own, and even passive income sources like, mutual funds, exchange traded funds, index funds. Regardless of where it comes from, cash flow is like water. You simply cannot survive without it.
And so, how do you know if money is fulfilling its primary purpose for you? I mean, obviously, money is a big part of everybody's life. So most people, they want more of it. But the $10,000 question is, how do you decide how much is enough? That's a good question for everybody. People often use arbitrary account balances and rates of returns to assess how much progress they have made. But neither of these things actually indicates whether your money is fulfilling its primary purpose. Income replacement, also known as cash flow. So having money, of course, is part of the equation. It's the wrong measurement for success. A lot of people with plenty of money still struggle with not feeling financially free or confident. And that's a problem. So achieving financial confidence start with answering these two questions. How much actual income do you have coming in right now that you don't have to work to receive? So I'm talking about actual dollars being deposited into your checking or brokerage account. If you quit working tomorrow, how much money would you need to cover all your expenses? That's taxes, trips, lifetime expenses, all that stuff. If you're like most people, there's a gap between how much income you're receiving and how much you need. And that's why you work, to fill the gap. If you want to stop working, you got to figure out how to close the gap with passive income.
That's important. That's when your money's working for you. So speaking about that, though, passive income, which usually brings you financial freedom, or is it financial security? How is financial security different from financial freedom? Let's talk about that, though. So how do you do that? Start by understanding the difference between financial security and financial freedom. Now, the idea of financial security cannot necessarily be defined by exact numbers or percentages, and is often expressed as a feeling of safety. It's just a feeling that you feel secure. That's why most people focus on reducing debt and accumulating money. They believe that spending less, paying less in interest, and earning more on their investments is what will lead them to a successful retirement. But having large sums of money brings a sense of financial security. But does it, but it does not really create financial freedom. If you look at most people, knowing creates more confidence than assuming, meaning you can assume that you're okay and you're secure, but if you don't really know and have actual just complete financial freedom, that's a big difference than feeling secure and knowing that you're secure.
Okay, so security versus independence versus freedom. There's always a lot of people who save millions of dollars, okay, but they still don't feel financially free. They say things like, "I think I'm going to be okay," or "I feel okay with what I have," but their word choices, "I think" and "I feel," say it all. They are not confident.
Wow.
So in short, if you have large sums of money, but you're still working to support your income needs, or you're worried about market returns, or you're uncertain about what's going to happen, that's not freedom, believe it or not.
Wow. Now that's pretty deep, though. That is pretty deep. But the financial journey, you all, we just hoping that you enjoy, the journey, and how you do that is not getting caught up into the American dream, not getting caught up. Though I remember I used to have this uncle at the cookhouse, always telling people how to get rich, and this one would be stay broke. But let's talk about the summaries and the takeaways for today, though, because we had a lot there. Let's bring it home.
The first one, you got to understand where you are. You got to understand your current position, and that's understanding what money's coming in, what money's going out. We always use the example, if Bob and I decide to meet in New York, we're going to take different routes to get there. So you got to know where you are to get an idea of how to get where you're going.
Yeah, that's a good one, and you got to have a plan. Everybody has a plan. Like, you always use this one. Everybody say they got a plan until, like Mike Tyson said, everybody can take a punch, can talk about winning until they get punched in the mouth. Same thing. Until you have the economy gets bad, or it's an economic downturn or COVID, till you really get hit with it. Are you really prepared? And to have a plan is so important, and that's why we talk about it so much. And then not just have a plan, but stick to
it. And next, you got to be sure your destination. And by that, I mean, make sure your goals are your goals. Make sure when you get there, that's where you want to be. And a lot of times, especially people like us who started off without anything, we don't know what it looks like to be financially secure. And so you might set goals, and you might get those goals and then find out that's not where you want to be. So make sure you know where you want to end up. Then when you get there, you'll be happy.
And last but not least, enjoy the journey. You don't have to live in a shoebox. You don't have to just, squeeze so hard that you make Abraham Lincoln cry. Enjoy it. Live your life. But, live within your means. And it becomes a much more enjoyable journey if you just, don't get caught up in the American dream, or they say don't chasing that carrot, and just understand. And this will help you from not getting caught up in that. It's having that plan, understanding what your risk is, understanding what your values is, what's important to you, and then understanding, what are your goals? What is your time frame for those things? And that's why we take time and have these conversations, you all. And that's what we're talking about, the financial journey.
Yeah, but Bob, I'll just say so much of this, like I said, we didn't learn growing up. So you tend to look at yourself in comparison to other people, not knowing where they started, who's helping them, where they got money coming from. And you don't want to feel bad because you're not keeping up with people. That's why you got to figure out what's your definition of success and run your own race. Don't try to run other people's race or worry about other people's race because you don't know nothing about their track. Stay on your own, go on your own track and run your own race.
So with that, Dope, we got a lot of people on. Thank everybody for joining us. Next week is 195, though. We hit the 200 shows. That's awesome. I want to say thank you to my wonderful, beautiful, gracious sisters, Linda, Gloria, and Nolia. They on Dope. They backing us every week. They with us, and they tell me, you know, good show. And for some reason, Dope, I'm not. I'm just. This is not a jealous statement, Joe. So take this. You know, with a little grain of salt. I think they're loving you a little bit more than me, though. But I ain't going to be sounding like a baby brother. Like
they always love their baby brother, man.
That was a test.
Like that.
That was a test. I was testing them. Yes, I was testing you. You damn all right. What's up, Carl? What's up, Chapman? What's up, my good brother? Thank you for being on, Joanne Skinner. Hey, Dope, James Alexander's with us.
That's brother-in-law Jimmy.
Yes, and we got the wonderful Now Dodie. I know now. I said, God dang, I know my husband had all that kind of money. Now, thank you for being on here. Hey, Dope. Now, this is the second week. This person has not disclosed who they are. They've been making a lot of comments.
How'd you find out? You said you thought you knew who it was.
No, I don't, because they won't put it in. Who is Mo Better?
What did they say this time?
They said, he said a lot of stuff. I need to learn how to do Bitcoin. I need to learn stocks. And he said he got money. Talking about when you were talking about the money. He said we were taught to do it. So he's like, thank you for teaching us. He said, I appreciate you taking the time out to teach us. All right. Cool. Wonderful. Well, who is Mo Better? Will you please come out from your witness protection program? You got me curious. It got me curious, though. I think I know who it is, but I'm not sure. A good evening.
Who do you think it is?
I have no clue, to be honest. I just thought I'd flush him out by saying it. I have no clue. And it's a picture, but I can't see the picture of who that is in that picture. I can't see. Mo Better, come on. Come from under your disguise of Mo Better, because that ain't your name. Is this, oh, see, why you playing the game, Mo? He put LOL. Why you? See?
Well, you said he. It might not be a he.
You know, you're right. That actually looks like a, wait a minute, you might be right. Don't, I think it might be a transvestite. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, you get, stop it. Stop.
Okay, so look. Though the quote of the week, Mo, you ain't right, Mo. Mo Better. Oh, dude, it is. I'm a lady. She said, oh, Mo.
Oh, Mo.
Oh, Mo.
You call her Mrs. Better? Is that what's next? Mrs. Better?
Miss Better. Come on, Mo. Oh, I'm going to get you. Uh-oh. Oh, I'm going to. Mo Better. Damn, you got me. Mo Better. Okay, you got me. Dope. Now this quote. Mo, won't you stop playing, Mo Better? Now Mo got yes and a high five up there. Okay. See, you messing with me, Mo.
With you. I have no idea who it is.
Well, though it's like it's like a deer with no eyes.
A what?
A deer with no eyes. I have no idea.
Hey, I got a quote that I read this week.
Okay, you give the quote this week. What's the quote?
No, but you give yours afterwards because mine is kind of generic. But it's eat like your life depends on it, because it does.
That's it. No, I'm just kidding. No, say it again. No, say it again.
Eat food like your life depends on it. Choose what you eat like your life depends on it, because it does.
Okay. Well,
That hit me this week. That one
I
just
love
smacked me
that.
across the head.
No, I like that. I do like that. I just mess with you. Oh, okay.
What's the quote of the week, Bob?
Here you go.
I'm ready.
More better back. I go to the bands in the summer.
Go where?
To the bands where I do the concert in at the Bowie concert city. Well, why you playing with me? Mo, I ain't messing with you, Mo. All right, dope.
You ain't gonna sleep tonight. You know that.
I'm like, Mo, oh, I know who Mo is. That mofo. So this is my dope. Check this out. Check this one out.
Okay, I'm ready.
For though my faith is not yours, and your faith is not mine, if we are each free to light our own flame, together we can banish some of the darkness in the world.
Oh, that's cool. I like that.
I know.
That's one of my favorites. Yeah, that's one of the. That's a good one. Hey, wish everybody happy Easter too.
Oh yeah, happy Easter. Hey, James got a quote, dope. Before you fly the plane, know how you land the plane.
Hey, I got a quick story for that. I put on some rollerblades, trying to rollerblade with my kids.
I could have told you that.
And I was in Pittsburgh and didn't realize I was on a hill. And I put them on and just started down the hill. My daughter Taria was running behind me, chasing me, trying to catch me. And
Did you fall?
Oh yeah, finally hit some grass and face planted. And luckily, it was comical. Lucky I didn't break. I was probably around 35. So 35, you don't break anything.
Yeah,
and so I went to a class, and guess what? The first thing they teach you in a class,
what?
How to stop. That's the first thing they teach you is how to stop. Which my dumb butt didn't realize. I put the suckers on and started going downhill.
Well, that's a lesson to you.
Good quote, Jimmy.
Good quote, Jimmy. Before you fly the plane, know how you land the plane. I love it.
And happy Easter, everybody.
Happy Easter, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful Easter. I remember those days where everybody's putting on their Easter suit and the ladies are putting on their bonnets, man. I remember those days, man. So have a great Easter. We see y'all next week. Thank you for being with us. And remember, put in the comment box any topics you like for us to cover. I promise you, we will cover them. So help us out there, you all. 194 shows, though, and counting. Have a wonderful, great weekend, everybody. Much love. Peace be with you.
Peace.
This thing on Mo is messing with me, man. Now I said, not bonnets. Mo is messing with me, man. I don't know who this Mo is.
Who's Gloria Browner?
That's my sister.
Oh, Gloria. Okay. Browner. I'm looking for Kenzie.
Right.
I know Nola.
Right. Nolia.
Yeah, I know her.
And then Linda. And Linda's side.
Yeah, Linda, I know those two.
Right.
Mo better is she said, okay, I can see the comments. Hey guys. Good evening. Do you know of any work from home jobs? Also, you can have my. Also, do you have any spare change?
She's a ride, man.
I didn't see you on Saturday. Who did you see?
I did the show this Saturday.
Yeah, I know. She said she didn't see you.
And I left early on Saturday, right? That she wouldn't have. Who the hell is this? Then she said, much love. She messing with me, man. Mo better. I don't know who the hell that could be. And she purposely won't let me know. Then she went, not bonnets. That's a clue. Not bonnets.
No, hats instead of bonnets.
Oh. That's what she's saying.
Yeah.
I'll find you.
You still don't know who it is.
Thank you, Gloria. I'm sorry. Gloria said, y'all are still on. We can hear you. Oh, I thought I ended the stream. Sorry, you all. Sorry, Mo.
Lucky we ain't say nothing bad.
Mo laughing. Mo, won't you come out from the secret identity? Will you please stop it, daggone girl? Stop it.
It's killing you.
It's killing me. It's killing me. It's killing me, what? It's killing me. All right, y'all. This time I'm ending the show. Thank you, Glow. I didn't know y'all were going to stay on. This is part 2 of the show. All right, y'all.